All right, here we are.
Yeah.
Trying to make a multi-purpose day here out in City Park. We originally came this morning to climb the mountain. How'd you like your first mountain climbing experience here?
It was good. Yeah.
You totally exhausted from that
No.
dangerous trek
No.
up to Mount, what was the name? Mount Laborde? Laborde, it was a laborious journey. A whole 2.5 minute walk up a little incline.
No, I feel good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know what's going to be out first, that little vlog or this, or this vlog, but it's really cool because the highest point of elevation here in the New Orleans, in the city of New Orleans, is right here in City Park in Couturi Forest, which is kind of a little hiking trail area, right across from Scout Island and right kind of like near the fairgrounds as well. And right in the center of that Couturi Forest is the highest peak in the city, which is 27 feet above sea level. So they call it Mount Laborde. And it's cool because right in the middle of it, there's like a concrete map of the city, and it just, it's kind of cool just to be there knowing that you're standing at the highest spot.
I mean, the city definitely has some gems. There's definitely things to go out and explore and to see.
Yeah.
So it's really has its unique take to the city of New Orleans. And the more that I live here, I get to learn that more and more. It's beautiful in its own way, from the oak trees and, from the bayous and just the way in which it is.
Mississippi River.
Yeah, the Mississippi River. It just brings the feel to it that's different. I'm not sure if you're gonna find this anywhere else. Might find a little similar, but nothing as. New Orleans is New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't get away from it at all.
I would say unique is the word. It's, obviously where she's from, Trinidad Tobago, is totally different than here. As far as the terrain, climate is similar. It's hot, sticky. In fact, we decided to try to knock out this vlog while we were here because there's just not a convenient time to do it when it's August in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so the last couple we've done it in the evening as the sun's going down. The problem with that is trying to get the correct exposure and set the camera up because it starts off really light and then it ends up really dark but it's better because of the weather. But right now I think we are at, let me see, we are at 86 degrees and it is 10:53 in the morning. So it's supposed to get to about 90, but with the heat index we're pushing like 105.
Yeah.
So it's been an extremely hot couple of weeks, but also kind of a sporadically wet couple of weeks. And so it's just been a real muggy, humid kind of time, similar to where she's from, but the terrain's totally different. Like you said, the bayous, the Mississippi River, really. But I think what really sets it apart is just the history in the area. There's so much history here, and we're set up today, like right near where we did a vlog a while back, months ago, probably about a year ago, where we found the original entrance to City Park, because where the Museum of Fine Art is typically referred to as the main entrance now, and it's a really nice area. But way back, in the days, the original entrance was right over here off of Esplanade. And so it's really cool. We did a vlog, just a lot of cool little history nuggets, and I like history. I like the interesting angles of things and finding out why things are the way that they are, so it's pretty cool. I mean, I've really grown to love the New Orleans area. I really have.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, the rest of the state is really pretty too, though. Like when you get up into the northern Louisiana. Haven't you found that to be the truth?
Yeah.
To be the case? You're looking at me like I'm on Mars.
I think for a moment I was looking at something out there and I was like, whoa, because you were still talking. So I was like, all right. But yes, we went up to like Shreveport, Alexandria. If you go over
Where did we go for Christmas? We did a little Christmas.
Oh
my gosh. Was it Natchitoches?
Yeah.
Natchitoches.
It is true.
Really cool,
as the more that you go to the smaller towns,
yeah,
it's so much nicer. It really is.
Well,
It
quaint,
has
quaint
a nice,
and charm and
yeah,
charming and
yeah. So that's what it is.
yeah,
Even if you go over to Mandeville or Covington,
right,
it's very nice. Yeah.
yeah. So no, it's cool. We like to get out and around and try to. I think as the fall comes, of course, she's 27 weeks. You know, as of tomorrow morning, you know, time to bring this little boy into the world is coming soon. So there'll probably be a little bit of a lull in making some vlogs, but I'm looking forward to the cooler weather because it just makes it so much easier to go do.
Yeah. And I feel like
it's warm right now.
I mean, like I was saying, like in the mid, like between 10:30 to probably afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock, a little 4:30. It's a little, you know, scorching outside. So
Yeah.
you wanna do everything earlier or later,
Yep.
unless you need to really be out there. But
Right, and so we just decided to try to knock it out today because the week gets busy and even hotter. So
yeah,
but kind of on that note, we'll pivot into the point of today's conversation, which was really something that I've seen in various form or fashions through ministry that I've been in, through leadership and training groups. Even back when I was in restaurant management, they'd send us through training that would deal with issues like this just to build confidence and leadership abilities. But it's really, and you've probably seen similar topics all throughout the internet, but got us kind of thinking, and we mentioned it on the last vlog where we were discussing becoming first-time parents in our 40s. You know, the fact of the matter is, like, it's a blessing, you know, and most people probably would agree that it's a blessing to have kids even at 48 years old like myself. There's a couple negative Nancys out there who don't totally agree, but hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Nonetheless, it kind of got us thinking about overthinking. You know what I mean? Because here we are about to have this child in a, you know, of course she just turned 40, so she's still a spring chicken. You know, I'm knocking on 50, but you know, man, at the end of the day, I'm so excited. It's an awesome thing, you know, and so it got us thinking about, like, man, just stop overthinking all this stuff and just let, you know, life play out the way that it plays out. I mean, we don't get a chance to hit a reset button anyway. Like, I can't go back. You can't go back to being young. We're here today. Today's the day. And so topic for today is really, you know, 5 things to not overthink. Have you ever found yourself being an overthinker, honey?
I am an overthinker.
At least you said it. I didn't have to say it.
I am an overthinker. I overthink things. You know, because you want everything to go well. You want your day to go well.
Right.
You don't want to, like, not put thought into it. But nothing is wrong in, I've learned there's nothing wrong in putting thought into something that you're about to do or you're about to step into. But what I've learned is when I overthink it and allow that to control the entire situation. I feel like that's two different things.
It'll influence the decision.
Yeah, it influences it. It takes you over, stress you out. There's no joy in the moment. It's more like a panic, anxiousness, anxiety of, like, okay, it has to be this or that. So yeah.
Well, I think the first thing to not overthink, and we've already kind of discussed these topics, so we could have a little bit of a flow in this. The first one, and this is probably the hardest for most people, you know, if you're being honest, this you have to actually be honest about this stuff, is really not overthinking what other people think about you. Man, I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's some, you know, extremely confident, you know, totally grounded person who never struggled with this in their entire life. You know, go ahead and feel free to comment on the video. But for the most part, even the most confident person, the most good-looking person, the most achieved person, you know, the most decorated person, oh, excuse me, carbonated water, even a person like that has, at a time in their life, struggled with overthinking what other people think about them. Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that we are so concerned sometimes with what other people think?
Well, I think it's perfection. We want to be perfect in everything that we do, and nothing's wrong in that.
To be excellent is not a bad thing.
Yeah, we want to be excellent. We want a good report. We want to, it brings some form of confirmation or acceptance to us.
Yeah, yeah.
So opinions of people matter because it really, you know.
They help shape us, you know?
Yeah.
They can.
It helps shapes, yeah.
And so
identity.
So what people think, and this is where like we were talking about it even before the video, as we were getting ready for stuff, just thinking about like it. I didn't want to come across as I've seen some videos similar to this that say, you know, just don't worry about what other people think at all. You do you kind of thing. Well, I'm not really about that life because we're in pastoral ministries. You know, our calling is to, you know, console and to encourage and to lead people. That can't happen if we're never respected, if people don't actually care what we think, you know, because this whole independent mindset, you know, it's just you kind of versus the world, you know. I mean, that's just not how we operate, you know what I mean? So I think it totally does matter what people think. We just got to get to a spot where we stop overthinking it and we let it, you know, like you were saying at the beginning, like just hinder our growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like it can though, right? You can, and then you spend your time thinking about or fantasizing about what somebody else might think or what they might say because of something you're about to do or maybe a change in your life. And then most of the times like it never even happens, you know?
Yeah.
They never get to that spot. So has it gotten easier as you've gotten older, or would you say it's still?
I think it's gotten easier because then I can differentiate, well, is what this person is saying to me, do I respect their life? Do I respect it? Are there, you know, are there things in their life that I admire about them, you know, or are there red flags? Over time, you know, what's the direction of that person's life? So, yes, as I've grown older, I've gotten to look into and see, okay, well, is this person just saying this to say this? Where is it coming from? Does it hold weight to what they're saying? And is what they're saying going to edify? Is it going to build up? Is it helping me later on, or is it just not fruitful at all?
Right. Yeah.
So as I've gotten older, it's gotten easier because now I can clearly see, all right, this person means well to me, and what they're saying is because they care about me, and they want to see that I progress in life. So I'll take that opinion. Now, am I going to overthink it? No, I'm gonna apply it to what I'm walking or I'm putting my hands to or doing, and being thoughtful of their feedback, their suggestion, their advice, their encouragement to me.
Yeah, and it's really good because, like I said, it when we overthink what other people think, then sometimes that's really sets the stage for, you know, being offended too, you know. And I just don't like to walk in offense towards anybody. And so, you know, let's just say, for example, you know, obviously we're part of a local church and we deal with a lot of, you know, people in that church, people coming in it, people coming out, people visiting, you know. So there's just like, it's a whole like setup for offense if you want to look at it that way, because you're constantly dealing with rubbing up against a bunch of people, and sometimes people rub you the wrong way. But I think we strive to be people that can live without that offense, and so what helps that is not overthinking everything. Just because sister so-and-so doesn't say hi to me on a Sunday, or they don't, you know, you don't get a thank you because you did something for somebody else, you know, we've just got to rise above that, man, and just let that, you know, let that be what it is. Continue to walk in an attitude of just, you know, humility and love towards people, and stop overthinking those things. You know what I mean? I really think too, it's like if we focus less on how we look and more on what's really going on the inside, life's just better for everybody, because then we can have a positive influence on other people. And what you say is some of the best people that have really spoken into your life were people like that, right? They weren't like these crazy outwardly.
Yeah, you know, the most people that spoke into my life is like, I don't see them every day. I've met them probably once a year, or a phone call. But when I do meet with them, it's like, wow, like we've just caught up where we left off. it's just like a continuation. And if it's anything, there's more admiration for their life because of what, and just how they've, you know, they've lived their life, what they've accomplished, what they've set their mind to do. And, you know, it's always for the betterment of others, you know, not living in, not living a defeated life, but really taking life for what it is, and being overcomers.
Yep.
Yeah, being overcomers.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Overcoming, you know, winning, victory in your life, you know, success, however you want to put it, you know, all of those things, honestly, hold the most weight when we're right on the inside. You know what I mean? Then we're able to really grow in those things. Outward validation, like you said, from other people, just because, you know, we want to hear those things. That's good, but there's nothing like just knowing that, you know, you're doing things that you need to do the right way. You know what I mean? And because you talked about earlier, you said perfection. You know, sometimes perfection is an issue. That kind of leads into point number 2, which is second thing to not overthink, is the right time to start something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I had to write these things because, you know, these are things that I've had issue with, man. The right time to start something. You ever been there? Like, you're like, okay, I need to fill in the blank. I need to get back to school. I need to finish reading this book. I need to cut the grass. You know, I need to start a diet. I need to do whatever these things.
There's always so many things I need to.
And we find ourselves procrastinating or waiting sometimes because if the situation isn't perfect, then we don't want to start it. You know what I mean? Now, I've been way less like that as I've gotten older. I've been more about hey, I'm just going to give it a shot, see how it works out. But for a long time, and sometimes I can still find myself kind of battling that, you know, when's the right time to start something, you know? And so what happens is a lot of times it never gets started.
Yeah.
You know?
And we overthink it because we're thinking that there's this perfect time, there's this date, this month, this year, which at times there is, depending on what it is, because the time of the year is good because it's probably going to pick up more, or it's just, you know, it's just the right time, right? The right time, the right month. You know, it's appropriate. It's not like you're
right, if you're going to plant a garden, like there's a specific time that's probably the best time to do that.
Yeah.
But what about something like, you know, like it's just a lot of things that, you know, fulfill that really can bring a fullness to our lives, like, you know, learning a new language. I've been trying to learn Spanish, you know, or even today, like going for this walk, going for a hike somewhere, you know, doing things that, you know, or having these kind of a bucket list of things you want to do, but you never get them done because you're always waiting on the perfect time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what was something like in your life you could say that, like, man, looking back, you're like, I waited too long. You know, I should have just tried this a little earlier in life.
Yeah, I think was always my dad. I always admire him just playing the acoustic guitar. It's something that was just his pastime. He had a guitar, and he never went for guitar lessons or anything like that. But he just had this. He just always liked to sing, you know, Christian songs and worship songs and praise songs, and he just picked it up, and he would just every evening he would pick it up, and he would just sit and just practice and, you know, hum along and see what strings, chords, and he would do that. And also too, I believe that he hung around with some friends in the church that did play guitar, and he would ask them. And I've always admired. I was like, that's awesome, because, you know, that would be nice to do. I didn't pick it up until like later on, probably around 27, 28, around there. And it's the reason why was we were doing an outreach, and I guess the musician wasn't there, but, you know, things still had to carry on. And I was like, well, that'd be pretty cool to learn something, you know. But I always had it way then.
Right.
I never did it because I just thought, like, that's difficult, or
You overthought it.
no. I also thought I have to go to music lessons, music classes,
Right.
even though I had the money for those. So probably one day I'll do it. And never happened because I never really would want to take my money and put it towards that. There's
Right.
other things that were important to get done. So that would be something I would say that yeah,
Overthought it. Should've
overthought
just
us.
started,
Yeah, just
started it.
yeah, I could have. Yeah,
You know, and I guess the clarification is like, I think a lot of times we're waiting for, like I said, the perfect time to start something. But there's a difference between the perfect time and the right time.
yeah,
So I think that I want to be clear about that. So because the right time to start something still may not be the perfect time. That's where it gets a little tricky. Because like you're talking about, we said planting a garden. There's a right time to plant the
Yeah.
garden, but it still may not be the perfect time. You could still have an issue, you know, say with irrigation in that area, or, you know, overgrown trees or something that might block sunlight. And so I think that's something to think about, because even back when you wanted to start playing guitar, there was a kind of that right time for you. When you were young, you had more time on your hands, you know what I mean? But was it necessarily the perfect time? I don't know, you know? And so but that's just something to think about. You know, the right time may not always be the perfect time. So we can plan. I think it's good to plan things for a right time or a right season, but don't overthink it, because it's
Yeah.
never going to be, there's always going to be a challenge, especially to something in your life that's going to be like a real monumental change. Typically when you're making big changes in your life, like, you're going to hit some resistance.
right.
It's not going to be smooth sailing all the
Well,
time.
as we're talking about that, what about marriage? What about courting? What about those things when we overthink things that, man, now is the right time? You know, what about starting a family? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
those are like those are things in life that we really, you know, everybody desires.
Yep.
You know, and there's a right time for that
There's
in people's life.
There's a right time.
Yeah.
But even the right time may not be perfect,
Right.
as we've come to find out.
Yeah.
Next thing, I think number 3 to not overthink is, and this is, like I said, this is a big one for me, is every small mistake. You know, we can't get caught up on every little imperfection in our life. You know what I mean? I mean, we all have issues of some sort. You know, we all have
Yeah.
little quirks of some sort. We all have, you know, little you know, defects in our character that we're working out, you know? And so we can't overthink those things and let those things really just discourage us from moving forward,
Yeah.
you know, in life. And man, I mean, yeah, really like majoring on the minors, you know, and minoring on the majors. Like, get a little mistake, you know, you have these little mistakes and they seem like these massive setbacks, but they're really not, you know what I mean? And we just hone in and we start to overthink those things. You know, can you think of anything come to your mind specifically?
Yeah, I would say at a younger age, probably in my teens, 17, 18, 19, I could have I look back and I think like that was like crucial time in my life that I could have done a little more, you know, soul searching or planning or preparation a little more to what lies ahead, you know, in regards to schooling, in regards to just, you know, making better choices. So oftentimes I look back at those times and think that, you know, what could I have done differently, providing the environment of the home and the situation to help better myself for what's ahead,
future, yeah.
for the future. And so sometimes I overthink that. When I feel like things are not going well in my life right now, I was like, man, probably it's because I didn't really take thought of my younger days. You know, I wasn't too mindful of it. I wasn't too, I was just probably just gliding through life.
I see what you're
You
saying.
know, yeah.
So you're saying like you made a lot of small mistakes back then that maybe detoured you.
Yes,
you know?
small mistakes in regards to not taking,
Things
you know,
seriously and moving
taking
forward,
that
yeah.
time as a very important time in my life, because that's what was going to propel me for what's ahead.
I got you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
I was thinking too, though. I was thinking more along the lines of like current small mistakes, but that's a good point too, because a lot of the small mistakes of the past ended up to a big detour.
yeah,
We can't overthink
like,
those
there's
things.
every day.
But every day thing. I mean, here's an example. Like, okay, say you're on a diet, or say you're on a workout program. You know what I mean? And you're just not perfect on the diet that day. How many times, and maybe I'm the only one, that you could put in 2 weeks of working out every single day, eating cardboard and rice, and man, but then you have one night where you eat some ice cream and a cheeseburger or something, and you feel like the whole thing's canceled out.
Yeah, that has happened to me a lot of time.
And so you throw the whole thing out because
Probably too many times.
right.
But I've learned to, and one thing, and not overthinking that, I've learned to just pick up back and keep moving.
Because
moving
it's worked. It's worked. Like this 7 years we've been married, we've worked out. We've had seasons where, man, we've been hitting it hard. We trim down, then something happens, and we kind of gain a little weight again, and we're fluctuating. But I would say over the last year to year and a half, like we've been really consistent with just not quitting. Now, it's not that we've been working out every day or we've really been like dieting hardcore.
I think I've learned.
But like we kind of threw out the mindset of like that we've been failing.
Yeah.
And we just keep moving forward little by little.
That used to really get at me a lot because I was like so frustrated because we're doing good. We had a good successful week, by getting at least 3 to 4 workouts in. We ate well, and then after, life happens, and whether we went on a mission trip or a family vacation or we get caught up with work, or the week was so packed that we just physically resting our bodies was more important.
Yeah, I mean, since she's been pregnant, like she still works, and so she's had, fluctuations in energy level, and so there's been like this last couple of weeks, like we've worked out maybe twice a week at the most. I've put her through a little bit of a workout. I work outside. I'm burning 1,000 calories a day, a zillion calories a day, it feels like. So like I'm totally exhausted when I get home. So, but I'm not overthinking it because, on the plus side, like, yeah, it'd be nice if you were working out a little bit more, but on one side, but then on the other side, like, you need your rest.
Yeah.
Because you actually work too. You're not just sitting around all day.
Well, I kind of weighed in like this, like, all right, yeah, I'm going to get my workout on, but then it's going to really kill me out in my energy level, and my body needs to repair, and there's so much more that's leaning on this side rather than taking me out and trying to make myself feel good by working out. So on that, I've learned that there's just other things, putting the calories in, calories out. What you put in is what you're gonna get, right?
Right, trying to maintain.
Yeah, so just by probably proper eating and what you put in,
right,
to help that. But even with all of that, the exercise, the eating, all of that is just like, you take it one day at a time as how it comes, because that is something that we can overthink.
Totally.
That small mistake, I was like, man, like
what
I
I'm
messed up.
more concerned with is setting her up and setting ourselves up for when Joaquin is born, that we don't have to restart this, idea of exercise in our lives, because we've never stopped. Like, so we've had moments where we were more consistent, but we've never stopped, and so like that's really, I think, in the long run, going to make a better impact in our lives. Yeah. And so don't overthink the small mistakes. But moving on, because it's getting, we've been here for a little bit, and I know the camera might overheat. It's almost 90 degrees. What could have been? Don't overthink what could have been, and you kind of were hitting on that during a little bit of this last point, talking about how like you made a bunch of small mistakes in the past that, sometimes you think, oh man, that led to right now. This is maybe why I'm a certain way now. That could be true. That is probably true for a lot of us. We've done things in the past, or we've had successes, or we've had failures that have dictated partially where we're at now. But I think one thing, and we've talked about this in another video, is that nostalgic mindset, but just really not overthinking like what could have been. Like, man, what if I would have, that's a tough one sometimes, because even in recent life, you might have those experiences. Something as simple as Christmas shopping at the mall, and you pass that one space, you should have stopped and parked there, but then you didn't. So I'm gonna make another lap real quick. Then you come back and it's gone. Man, I should have just stayed right there. And so we constantly are faced with those kinds of moments. The issue is when we overthink them, and that just totally ruins our day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, what could have been if I only would have, fill in the blank.
And that is something like, sometimes at times it really does get me, especially if I miss on a deal or something, and then I have to pay full price.
They're right here on your.
And I have to pay full price. It's kind of like, man, if I had take all of the stuff that was on discount first, or
like you find a coupon that just expired.
Yeah, or you find out. Yeah, I was like, man, that would have been good to, what could have been.
Well, I mean, a real one, and she knows this because she's, with me, and we're, she's part owner of the business as well, even though she doesn't work in the business with me these days. But at one point, a few years back, we had a contract, cleaning a restaurant chain, and it was 11 locations that we were doing, and it was a good chunk of our yearly income. But after doing it for a couple of years, myself and my partner, we kind of just grew a little disillusioned, in the business. I don't know if our success kind of blinded us a little bit, and we just kind of got, we just got unfocused really on the importance of the nuts and bolts of a business.
Right.
And so we started to kind of have butt some heads with the owner of this franchise, who really, in retrospect, we totally could have just worked out. They were all very minor issues, but we were just at a spot where we just weren't thinking clearly. And so we walked away from the contract. We basically were so arrogant at the time to think like, you know what, we don't need this guy. We can go do it ourselves. Well, what happened right after that was COVID. And so we found out very quickly that that one contract alone probably would have kept us way ahead than where we had to be once COVID hit and things opened back up. And so it was a tough lesson, and there's even moments to this very day, and it's been 3 years, I think, since when was COVID, 2021?
Yeah, 2020?
2020, okay, yeah, so that's been that, and here we are, 2025. Every once in a while, when me and my partner are feeling a little blue, guess what comes back up? Man, if we only would have just worked it out with that guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I think what could have been, could really, it could really, you got to really be careful, because it could really keep you stuck in that position. And I like the topic of what you're talking about in regards to, and this is just 5 things not to overthink.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more.
Because what I'm getting to learn is that you overthink something, you could literally be standing or sitting or in that position for years, still overthinking, and never moved at all.
Yeah.
The years move, the times move, environment changes, people, everything moved, but you haven't moved at all. And I mean, these are good things to address, because we oftentimes don't realize that most of the issues that happens, it really stems with us. It doesn't stem with anybody else, and that's when we start looking to, blame shift. We're looking for something or someone to put a blame on, when we should look in the mirror and blame ourselves, because, we control what comes in and out. We control that. We have the ability to control that, and nobody, when we're thinking somebody else is doing it, unless you're really held against your will and somebody else controlling you, then you really need help in that area for sure. But just at a practical level, for just personal growth, we just have to break free from overthinking.
Absolutely. Last one as we get ready to wrap it up is really, I think, one that everybody could relate to as well. And it's just really not overthinking being fully understood by people. You know what I mean? It's similar to not overthinking what people think, but it's along those lines, but it is kind of different, because we live in a day and age of kind of self-expression, and everything is kind of fluid, and people are just struggling to find identity, and and what frustrates people a lot of the times is when they feel like they're not understood, like you don't get me, you know, and that can lead to us really trying to force ourselves to fit into situations or avoiding situations altogether and becoming, you know, antisocial people. And so I've had to learn with myself personally, like I can't overthink, you know, other people understanding me. You know, if they don't understand, I mean, here's an example. When I first accepted the call of God on my life into pastoral ministries, you know, I mean, it was something I had to acknowledge and willfully step into. You know, I believe the Lord was calling me. There was friends, family, you know, that were generally supportive, but the more that I committed, the more that when we got married and, you know, we decided to stay in New Orleans and just dig our heels in, and people didn't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, your family didn't understand it. Part of my family didn't understand it. Why don't you come back to Texas? Why don't you move to Florida? Why don't you move back to Trinidad, where she's from? Why don't you go anywhere? You know, you can do this anywhere. And so the whole thing was, it wasn't about doing ministry anywhere. It was about being obedient to the call of God on our lives. So people just didn't understand. Sometimes they still don't get it. You know, there's people that don't understand why we want to start a family, you know, at this certain age. It doesn't, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if people totally understand. I think not understanding people adds to the mystery of life, and it actually makes it kind of enjoyable. You know what I mean? There's, you know, so here's the thing, like some people just won't get it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's okay. I mean, there's people, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but there's people that I can think of right now in my life circle that I don't, the train's going by. There's people in situations that people that we love and respect, that they're doing certain things and they're living their lives certain ways that I don't totally get it, but I'm not required to get it. Nowhere in the manual instruction book of our marriage did it say that I have to get and understand what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why would we overthink those things? You know what I mean? And so sometimes people just won't understand you. Have you ever had to deal with people not understanding you?
All the time, every day.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Because
literally understanding your accent and
yeah. Because oftentimes it'll be like, what did you say? Or probably they'll have this smirk on the face, like, okay, all right.
You just had to deal with it.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
I mean, it's tough sometimes because I know you probably feel insecure about it at times, right?
No, I don't. That's the thing. I don't.
Well, you have in the past, though. Come on.
No, look. Be careful. Take your rag. Hit those things.
All right, it's just a bug. It's okay.
No, really. I never were in a place of trying to read somebody's mind, so I didn't. But now, I've grown older, because like you're relating something over, like I want to see, like, did they understand? Because I need to get a action back. They got to do a task for me. So obviously, yes, I would explain again. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like in like just concerning, like, say, your accent, there's a lot of times I've met other people from your country, even your own family, who have worked on kind of lessening the accent in order so people could understand them more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think your accent is awesome. In fact, when she lets it rip and it's in its full force, it's really cool. I mean, and I've done studies into these Caribbean accents, and I think you can kind of Google it yourself as well, but that it's the Trinidadian accent has been voted the prettiest accent in the Caribbean. And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had it, I'd use it. I'd be like, man, it doesn't matter. I'm not concerned if people can understand me. And your dad lives like that, though.
Yeah.
And her dad will turn on this thick accent. Doesn't matter where he's at.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just kind of rolls with it, huh?
Yeah.
And so, any closing thoughts on this, honey?
Closing thoughts would be, what are the things that you're overthinking in your life? That probably there's one thing that you could pinpoint, and when you look at it, is really have taken control of your life and have really bombarded you, weighed you down, stressed you out. How can you be eliminated from that?
Cut that
So,
off. And,
yeah.
Start doing stuff. Start living life.
And you know, I think if it's anything, we should overthink things that are good and just and pure and how
Yep.
to help people. And those are the things we should overthink. How can I make a difference? How can I help?
it's really good. we
So-
never overthink, like, man,
Yeah,
how
we
can I
don't-
just serve somebody more?
Yeah, because we don't ever think about overthinking good things, but we always overthink bad things.
The negative things.
Isn't that interesting
Yeah.
that we do that?
It's really good.
You know?
Okay, maybe we'll have to do this down the road. 5 things we should overthink. Part 2. So we'll write that down and get back to that. If you're interested in that, let us know. Hit us up in the comments. But we appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far, and we just like making these train of thought, kind of philosophical-ish videos. We really enjoy it. So I hope you guys are getting some value out of it. So it's Roy and Kim and Baby Jack
Yes, Baby Jack.
coming soon, right here in real life. Till next time, take care. God bless.